Daniel Yahuda, the Acknowledged Israelite. And first of all, I'm going to give thanks first to the Most High, second to the Messiah. All right. I just want to get into a quick, um, simple little procedure here. Okay. You know, um, you know, it's not, really hard to do. All right. It's real simple. All right, this is what I'm going to talk about today, but before I get into that, I'm going to have to get into my springboard scripture today. And before I get into that, because it's just a little simple little process to do. Simple little process. It's not hard. I mean, you can do this thing. I mean, if you can't do that in public, you know what I'm saying, like on your job or whatever, or certain places might have certain requirements to where you can't do. But I tell you what, in your home, you can do. All right, you can do anything in your home. So, we as Israelites, you blacks, you Latinos, you Native Americans, is that we have to think about the fundamental things, and to be honest, these laws is the Most High laws is beneficial to your life. It's life, period. It teaches you how to live through life. All right, it's just that simple. But what I want to get into today. Before I get into what I'm going to get into today, I'm going to read my springboard scripture. That is Exodus chapter 20, verses 1 to 17. I'm not going to hold too much of your time today. It's going to be a nice and quick. And I know um, that some of you might know this and some of you might don't. And to you guys who don't know this, to the you blacks, you Latinos, you Native Americans who don't know that you are Israelites, you are the children of Israel, and you ought to follow these few laws in the Bible that God proclaimed you to do. All right, and I'm not going to get into a lot. It's a lot of laws I can get into, but I'm just going to get into the few and I'm just going to get into a few of them. All right, um, but I'm going to begin with my springboard scripture, and that's Exodus chapter 20, verses 1 to 17. And it reads, And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt not have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children to the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and show mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Now, I'm going to go into my first scripture so we can get into what we're going to talk about today. And today's topic I'm going to talk about today on our one-on-one discussion is God's laws is not grievous. because a lot of people wants to pretend, like it's a hard thing to do, but it's not a hard thing to do. It's very simple. All right, it's not that hard. All right, it's very simple to obey. Put it like that. All right, like it's just as simple if your mother or your father just tell you to sit down, you just sit down. It's just that simple, simple like that. I mean, it's not something where I'm telling you, uh, what's 555 divided by 22 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It ain't hard like that. All right, it's just as simple as a sit down. Your mother or your father tell you to sit down, and you sit your behind down. It's just that simple. All right. I'm going to begin in. We're going to turn our books to First John. First John, chapter 5. And we're going to pick it up at verse 3. Yeah, where it reads, "For this is the love of God." For people who don't know the love of God and how to love God, it's just that simple. Here you go. I'm going to show you. First John chapter 5 verse 3. For this is the love of God. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments. And his commandments are not grievous. That's what we're going to talk about today. I'm not going to get into all. I'm going to get into a few. All right, just a little few. I mean, this is, to be honest, this was the fundamentals on I used when I started. All right, when I first started following commandments. I mean, to me, this was a great stuff for me to start following the commandment. This was my beginning, and I'm just sharing you. Before I started following all the other laws, this was my beginning. All right, this is where I started. All right, I'm going to read it again. It says in 1 John chapter 5, verse 3, "For this is the love of God." For this is the love of God. This is how you love God. That we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. So if I was to give you a law and tell you that you was to follow it because this is the law of the Most High, if I'm going to tell you Israelites, you blacks, you Latinos, you Native Americans, that, this is the law that you have to follow, all right? I mean, it says, "For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous." So if you keep these commandments, and I tell you that this is the Most High's commandments, you're basically showing love to the Most High by doing that. And it's not grievous. What I'm saying is not hard. You tell some people something, some people just be like, "Oh, no, I don't want." It's just because they don't want to do it. They just don't have the what? The love for God. I mean, it's just that simple, But when people need help, or people be on a deathbed or whatever, something bad happens to them, then they want to call on God. All right, and not keeping a lick of commandments. Don't fix your mouth to call on God. You're not keeping his commandments, because this is how you show that you love him, by doing that. You know what I'm saying? If you don't show him, if you don't keep his commandments, you showing him that you don't love him. So, why call on him when you only need him? This should be daily. All right. So it says in verse 3, at the bottom of 1 John chapter 5 verse 3, it says, "And his commandments is not grievous." His commandments not grievous. Grievous is grievous. I'm going to get into the definition of grievous so we can see, the direct English term to grievous, since we are reading this in the English language. It says grievous, causing grief or great sorrow, flagrant, outrageous, atrocious, full of expressing grief, sorrowful, burdensome, or oppressive. That's the word I like right there, that I find in its definition of grievous. Burdensome or oppressive. When it says in 1 John chapter 5 verse 3, "For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not" what? Burdensome. Or his commandments are not oppressive. Or his commandments are not full of expressing grief. His commandments is not sorrowful. His commandments are not flagrant. His commandments are not outrageous. His commandments are not atrocious. His commandments is not causing grief or great sorrow. You see how that definition fit with all that? Don't that give you a better in-depth, uh, understanding? And I see another word that I like that in it says burdensome or oppressive. And I like burdensome when it says oppressively heavy, wondrous, distressing, troublesome. And his commandments is not expressively heavy. His commandments is not wondrous. His commandments is not distressing. His commandments is not troublesome. So that come out of the definition of burdensome. All right, you see how it all ties with this word grievous? I mean, the law is not all of this, people. All right, it's not. It's simple. It's real simple to do. All right, it's not hard. I mean, show God some love. I mean, you want me to show you some love. You know, you got a lot of R&B artists. You got a lot of actors. You got a lot of rappers that say first, and you got athletes. I want to give thanks to God. All right. First of all, I want to thank God. First of all, you showing God some love. First of all, is you showing God that you are keeping some of His commandments. I mean that is the love of God. That's how you show God love. You got to keep His commandments. All right. So I mean, I can see the spirit. You know what I'm saying? I can see the spirit in them because they are actually Israelites. You know what I'm saying? We all just, we might not, we might have some Israelites out there that's lost, but they have that zeal of God to be like, I want to thank Him first. You see a lot of athletes, a lot of rappers, singers say, I want to thank God. All the blacks, Latinos, and natives. You see them saying, I want to thank God. I want to thank God. You know. But you can see, the Israelite that is in them that they're not acknowledging or that they lost from. All right, because we all lost our heritage and we trying to get that back. All right, we trying to follow the commandments so we can get out of these curses. So, we can, get back in good hands with the Most High. All right. So we're gonna go back to Exodus 20, because like I said, when I read in my springboard scripture about Exodus chapter 20, all right, it's valid throughout the scriptures. It's valid throughout the scriptures. So that's why I'm going to Exodus 20. Pull out a few of these laws out of here. Like I said, I'm sharing you on how I started, of following the Most High's commands when I came back into my heritage. It'd be come back into the heritage the Most High gave to me and my forefathers, which are the nation of Israel. And we're gonna go to Exodus chapter 20, verses 1 to 6. This is a simple mistake that people do. All right, to where it's easy to come out of, really easy. It's not hard. It's really easy to just come out of this sin. All right. Exodus chapter 20, we're going to read verses 1 to 6. And it said that God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord that God which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. For anybody who don't know, bondage is bondage means slavery, and Egypt is a Greek word, for slavery. It says, I am the Lord thy God which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. See, that explains the definition right there. Verse 3, thou shalt not have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto... Well, let me stop right there. Thou shalt not have no other gods before me, all right? Rule 1. Thou shalt not have no other gods before me. No other gods, all right? Because you see us Israelites following Islam, that's another god. Following Judaism, that's another god. Following Christianity, that's another god. Following Buddha, that's another god. I mean, We into all kinds of stuff. I mean, we following all kinds of different gods. All right. This is rule number one. Thou shalt not have no other gods before me. So, what's so hard about coming out of Christianity? What's so hard of coming out of Islam? What's so hard of coming out of Judaism, Buddhism? Whatever you do. What's so hard of coming out of that and just um, keeping them, just keeping the Most High's commandments? What's so hard about that? All right. Verse 4, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, any graven image that you would make, all right, or any image that they have out here that can be, come to, could be a form of worship, because any image, notice what it said, graving image, an image, all right, you can have a book, or you can have a phone, or you could, you know, it says an image, a graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above. So we don't want the simplicity in this, that we don't want no sun. You don't want to have no sun. I mean, like Christianity worships the sun. That's, the sun god. It's the reason why the day was called Sunday. All right. You got the moon. You got people that worship the full moon. All right. And the Bible give you a specific moon that we're supposed to keep. The new moon. We're supposed to keep that new moon. All right. Not full moon. New moon. Or any light of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Like you have people that worship the fish. A lot of things that you see on the back of people's cars when they have the fish and they got Jesus inside of the fish. All right, this is something that's under the water. This is an image, all right, that we're not to make. Verse 5, thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. Okay? Most High said, thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, because we have a lot of us Israelites bowing down to the cross. We got a lot of us Israelites bowing down to the Kaaba. We got a lot of us Israelites bowing down to this man of Buddha. All right, doing some Tina Turner type Num Ray Kills type stuff. All right, all types of BS, man. Nor serve them, because when you do that, you are actually serving them. People bow down to these things for forgiveness and repentance. All right, hoping that it would, save their lives. And God laughs at this. All right, and it says, for I, the Lord God, am a jealous God. So this makes him real jealous, Israel. All right, this makes him real jealous, because Israel is known in better terms as the Most High's wife. All right, the house of Jacob. All right, this is a marriage that we have with the Most High. All right, not only a covenant. Visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. But what? Verse 6. And showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me. How do you love him? Like we read in 1 John 5 and 3. And keep my commandments. This is who the Most High is going to show mercy to. All right, if you keep his commandments, this is who you're going to show mercy to. All right, like I said, it's not a hard thing to do. All right, you keep the commandments, I'll keep the commandments, she keep the commandments, you keep the commandments, right? You will have, the Most High will show you mercy, because it's written, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. All right. So, simple thing here. We read in these few verses. We're not to serve gods, right? We're not to serve gods. We're not to serve these images, all right? We ought to keep his commandments so we could be under that mercy, all right? Let's jump down to verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Whatever you can do on the Sabbath day to keep it holy, do it. Whatever you can, do it. Okay? Like, let me give you an example. You know, actually something that I do, alright, with music, alright. Listen to some I listen to some R&B music, alright. But on the Sabbath day, I don't. And it could be R&B from 50s, 60s, 70s, It could be all those R&B, 70s, 80s, all right. But remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. So, the Sabbath day, you want to keep that holy. So this is not being done. The music, I don't listen to on the Sabbath day. I got to keep this day holy, all right. And it says, remember the Sabbath day, remember the Sabbath day, remember the Sabbath day. So this is a day you want to always remember. Uh, it's no forgetting this day right here. This is the day you want to remember. This is the day you want to anticipate, and this is the day that should be in your every week schedule. All right, and to keep it holy. All right, to keep it holy. All right, things that's what I'm saying, that's unholy. Try not to do it on the Sabbath. You know what I'm saying? Try not to do it on the Sabbath. All right, because like I say, we all keeping this command to the best of our ability. We all, you know, uh, not saying that you might not. You know what I'm saying? How could I say this? You keep the commandments to the best of your ability. All right, put it like that. Keep this day holy. All right, keep this day holy as you can. Verse 9, it says, 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gate. So guess what? On this day there is no work. Everyone is off. All right, cleaning, cleaning. No, there's no work to be done on this day. All right, and I'm talking about this. Today. I'm not talking about because there's other laws that's on the Sabbath that you can't do, but I'm talking about this particular one here. This particular one here. All right, we're not supposed to kindle any fire on the Sabbath either. We're not supposed to cook on the Sabbath, but since right here I'm reading this verse where it says about work, I'm going to talk about work right now, because like I said, I'm going to talk about a few of the commandments. All right, so it says, for in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and holiday. This is why this is a day you want to always remember. This is a day that you want to always keep, because this day is a blessed day. All right, you want to do what you can, all right, to keep this day holy, and do what you can to keep this day here, because this is a blessed day. All right, and hallowed it, which is another word for sanctified it. All right. So, what's so hard about doing this? What's so hard about not working on the Sabbath? What's so hard about 6 days you're doing your work? What's so hard about that? I mean, like we read in 1 John 5:3. I mean, his laws, it's not grievous. His commandments, it's not grievous. All right. Yeah. So it says to do no work on this day. All right. So let's go. Let me tell you. I think I got another precept on that. Let me see. In Exodus, go to Exodus chapter 23, and I'm gonna read verses 10, and I'm gonna stop at 13, because this is in these verses here, this is this is a law about a Sabbath. This is a law on the Sabbath day also. That is not grievous. All right, like it says in 1 John 5:3. And it says, "And 6 years thou shalt sow thy land, and shalt gather in the fruits thereof. But the 7th year thou shalt let it rest and lie still, that the poor of thy people may eat, and what they leave the beasts of the field shall eat. And like manner thou shalt deal with the vineyard and with the olive yard." Now this is what I want to get to. Verse 12. 6 days thou shalt do thy work, and on the 7th day thou shalt rest. You see that? 6 days do your work, 7 days you shall rest. That thine ox and thine ass may rest, and the son of thy handmaid, and the stranger may be refreshed. So we all should be refreshed. Verse 13, it says, "And in all things I have said unto you, be circumspect, and make no mention of the name of other gods, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth." So on this day here, okay, we want to keep the names of other gods out of our mouths. All right. So if you don't know the Father's name, I suggest you to keep your mouth closed. All right. But is that hard to do? Is that hard to do? Seriously, read it again, verse 13. "In all things I have said unto you, be circumspect," meaning, be on your game, "and make no mention of the name of other gods, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth." Is that a hard thing to do? On the Sabbath. On the Sabbath. Is that a hard thing to do? No, it's not. All right. Let me go to Exodus 21. All right, we're gonna read verse 12. And let me see, we're gonna go to 12, and we're gonna go to 14. And it says, "And he that smiteth a man so that he die shall be surely put to death." Simple. Just don't kill your brother. It's just that simple, man. That's hard to do. "And if a man lie not in wait, but God deliver him into his hand, then I will appoint thee a place whither he shall flee." Verse 14. "But if a man come presumptuously upon his neighbor to slay him with guile, thou shalt take him from mine altar, that he may die." I brought these out because it says simple, you know what I'm saying? You kill, the righteous thing is for you to be killed. Alright? But the easy thing in this part here that's not grievous is just don't kill your brother. Don't kill your brother, don't smite your brother. That's easy to do. What's so hard about it? Alright? And this is for, all Israel, because I know sometimes, Jake can get, a little hostile. Jake can get a little hostile. But you know what I'm saying? But what you want to do is you want to lie in wait, because in verse 13 it says, "If a man lie not in wait, but God deliver him into his hand, then I will appoint thee a place whether he shall flee." So, like I say, sit back a little bit until the things carry out, see how things carry out, see how everything work. You know, but if anyone come at you, put your hands on, you have a right to defend yourself. All right, now you just defending yourself. That's all you're doing now. All right. But other than that, try not, all right, to try not to smite your brother. Try not to kill your brother, man, because really, you used to be put to death for that. All right. Good thing that you wanted to. Good thing that the Messiah has been, been sent to give you that grace period, because you don't have long now. All right, you don't know how long you really have. All right, you don't know how long you really have, because this grace ain't forever. Grace runs out. Grace runs out. All right, grace don't last forever. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 11. Let's go there. A simple beginning for you that don't know about the Most High's commandments. Like it says in 1 John 5:3, His commandments is not grievous. All right. So like I said, I'm just sharing with you on some of the things that I started doing that was easy for me, that brought me into keeping the rest of the commandments. All right. In Leviticus chapter 11, we're going to read verse 1 to 3, and it says, And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. Now the Most High going to explain, because you have some questions of people. They say well, how do I know which one to eat? The question would be, how do I know which one to eat? There are many beasts out here. What beast will I know to eat? The Most High going to make it simple and plain to you what beast you shall eat. All right, and it's enough technology out here these days for you to find out who. All right, it's no excuse. All right, but it's still, even back then, it still was no excuse, because it's laid out here plain in the script where it says, Whosoever parted the hoof. Listen to these specific details on these beasts that he says, these are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts on the earth. That's in Leviticus 11 and verse 2. In verse 3 it says, Whosoever parted the hoof. He making that simple. Whosoever parted the hoof. You look at their feet. All right? And is cloven footed. All you gotta do is you got enough technology to look these beasts up who parted the hoof and is cloven footed. So we see that he's talking about the foot. And cheweth the cud. Cheweth the cud. So we know that he's talking about the mouth. Cheweth the cud among the beasts ye shall eat. So this is the specific, beast who you might not know. Just look at his feet. See, he cheweth the cud. These are the beasts you shall eat. All right. Simple direction. That's not hard to find out whose beef parted the hoof and is cloven footed and cheweth the cud. And when you go down to verse 4, it says, Nevertheless, these shall ye not eat of them that chew the cud, because we have a lot of them that chew with the cud, all right, or of them that divide the hoof, all right, like it's said in verse 3, that parted the hoof, all right, as the camel, because he cheweth the cud, giving you an example, all right, but divided not the hoof, he is unclean to you. This is giving you an example, all right. His feet, what it says, he chewed the cud but divided not the hoof. So you got to have both of these things, all right? It's like we read in verse 3, Leviticus 11:3, it says, Whosoever parted the hoof and is cloven footed and chewed the cud, among these beasts ye shall eat. But when you read verse 4, it said, Nevertheless shall ye eat of them that chewed the cud and of them that divided the hoof, as the camel, because he chewed the cud. All right, he got one of those things. He got one of those favors in 3, but he don't divide the hoof. So he is unclean to you. So that's telling you that he might divide the hoof, but he don't chew the cud. Or he might chew the cud, but he don't divide the hoof. These beasts you shall not eat. All right, beasts you shall eat is the ones we read in Leviticus 11:3, where it says, Whosoever parted the hoof and is cloven footed and chewed the cud among the beasts ye shall eat. Now, you know what I'm talking about when I say beast. All right, come on now. You should be more mature than that. More mature to know what I'm talking about when I say beast. All right, that's the animal. All right, these are the ones you shall eat. All right, you look at a cow's foot, the main things you will hear, is beef and pork, all right? But it's more than that. It's these beasts, all these beasts that parted the hoof and is cloven footed and chewed the cud among the beasts. You can eat these beasts, all right? And there's beasts that nevertheless that ye shall not eat of them that cheweth the cud in Leviticus chapter 11 verse 4. Or them that divide the hoof, as the camel, because he cheweth the cud but divided not the hoof. He is unclean to you. So when you see these kind of beasts, you know that you can't eat them. Look at what they call it, um, I ain't gonna say they specs, but you know they features. Look at the features. That's the word I want here. Look at the mouth features. All right, that chew at the cud. Look at the foot. See if it divided the hoof. Both these things got to match. All right. He got to be clone footed. He got to part the hoof, and he got to chew the cud. These things have to match. All right. That's how you know of all the beasts that we have out here, the ones that you can eat. All right, and the ones that don't do it, they may have one, but they don't have the other. All these things got to match. Like I said, that's how you know which beast that you're not to eat. All right. Did I make that very clear? All right. Let's go to let me see. Yeah, I think I need to bring this out. I think I need to bring this out. Let me go to Leviticus chapter 11 and verse 7. I got to bring this out. I gotta bring this out. Gotta bring this out. In case you don't know, I gotta bring this out because it's a lot of Israelites that love this animal. So, bam. Leviticus chapter 11, verse 7. And the swine. Let's look at the definition of swine. I gotta get my people. Y'all got to know this. Y'all got to know this. Any stout, cloven hoof of the old world found one having a thick hide sparsely covered with coarse hair, a snout, a disc-like snout, and an often short tasseled tail, now on worldwide distribution and hunted or raised for its meat and other products. Compare hog, pig, wild boar. All these are pig, the family of the pig. All these are the family of the pig. So I'm going to go to the thesaurus definition. It says boar, hog, ornica, pecaria, porker, wild boar, beast, boar, brute, hog, pig. Okay? Swine is just an ancient word for the pig. Alright? But we still say swine today though. But I got to show my people that this is in the Bible. This is not a Muslim thing. Hell, Muslims get this from the Bible. Alright? Verse 11, Leviticus chapter 11, verse 7, it says, and the swine, though he divided the hoof, and be cloven footed, yet he cheweth not the cud. That's why I said all these things got to match. He is unclean to you. This is an unclean thing, Israel. That pig is an unclean thing. Of their flesh ye shall not eat, and their carcass ye shall not touch. They are unclean to you. Reason why I'm going to bring this out in Deuteronomy, I want to come back to Deuteronomy 14 in verse 3. It says, thou shalt not eat any abominable thing. In Deuteronomy chapter 14 verse 3. So the things that we should not eat are, guess what? They are known as abominations. Alright? So when you read down in Deuteronomy chapter 14 verse 3, when you go down to 4, then they go to tell you about the beast and everything else, because this is another chapter that you can find the beast and the fish or whatever that you can eat and you cannot eat. But I wanted to, and then you can find that word in this chapter too, in Leviticus 11. All right, where they say that these things that we shall not eat are abominations. All right, so let's stick around in Leviticus 11 for a minute. We're gonna jump down to verse 9 because we covered. I failed, and I think that I covered the beast. All right, I feel that I covered the beast. So now we're gonna cover. Well, I'll show you. Verse 9. These shall ye eat of all that are in the waters. All right, like I said, this helped me start. All right, this helped me start to follow from, all the commandments to the best of my ability. Not like I said, but these laws is not grievous. They are easy to do. It's not hard. You know, you tell people, like I just read, that you cannot eat the pig, you can't eat the swine. I had to bring it out because our people they love that thing and they lost in it. All right, I brought that out to tell you that this thing is no good. No good. You know, that's why it kill off our people. It kills our people. This thing is bad for us, man. This thing, you know, that pig is an abomination, man. All right, it's unclean. It's unclean. It's a filthy beast. I just had to bring that out. That wasn't, you know, I wasn't going to talk about that. I was going to just say beast in general. But I had to bring that out just in case people think that it's not in the Bible, think it's some Muslim thing. All right. Verse 9, it said, these shall ye eat of all that are in the waters. Whosoever had fins and scales in the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers, them ye shall eat. Like I say, listen to the features. Had fins and scales. Let's go to verse 10. And all that have not fins nor scales in the seas and in the rivers, and all that move in the waters, and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you. There we go. There go the word. Abomination. So any fish, you know, what fish do we have? What fish can we eat? Here we go. Fish that have fins and scales. Well, what about the fish that we can't eat? This fish could have fins, but it don't got scales. You can't eat it. This fish could have scales, excuse me, but it don't have fins. You can't eat it. They have to have both. Simple instruction. They have to have both. They have to have two things that match. You can't be, you know, you can't have, you know, two things that don't match. You know, you gotta have two things that match. Like Chris Tucker said, you gotta have these two things got to match. All right, and that's every fish in the water. Okay, we seafood. Do crab have fins or scales? No. They are part of the exoskeleton. Do lobster, do shrimp, do all those have fins and scales? I know a shrimp have scales. Well, I don't think that's scales. That's part of his doggone body. But no, they don't. You know what I'm saying? Do catfish? They might have fins. They don't got scales. Can't eat that. All right, they gotta have two things that match, my people, because I know I'm bringing these things out because I know this is what y'all love. Y'all love that catfish. Y'all love that seafood, shrimp, crab, lobster. All right, these things do not have fins and scales, and these things don't even swim. All right, they don't even swim, y'all. So again, and all these other little fishes that they be eating that's coming out of the waters that don't have fins or scales, might have might have scales, excuse me, but have fins, might have fins but don't have scales. These fishes you can't eat. They have to have both fins and scales. Simple, you know, direction. All right, somebody pull up a fish, be like, "Hey, you want to eat this fish?" You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I said, it's so much technology out here, you know, for you to easily find who fish have fins and scales. It's just that simple. All right. That's how we was able to tell by catching the fish, right? And we can see that he have fins, but do he got scales? Let's scrape him and see. All right. You know the way how we do the fish, how we cut the fish head and I mean, come on now, it's all the simple procedure, all the same. You know, we've been doing that since way back. I mean, this is how we tell if they had fins. Or if you wasn't scraping no fins, you had to toss them. It was unclean, all right? 1 John 5:3, like I said, my laws is not grievous. It's not burdensome, all right? It's not oppressive, all right? Like the definition we was reading of grievous and burdensome. Let's jump down to 11, Leviticus 11 and 20. We done covered the beast. We done covered the fish. Now what's next? Leviticus chapter 11 verse 20 says, all fowls that creep, going upon all four, shall be an abomination unto you. All right. All fowls that creep upon all four shall be an abomination unto you. Yet these may ye eat of every flying creeping thing that goeth upon all fours, which have legs above their feet to leap withal upon the earth. Let me go back. Let me see. Let's go to before we get there, let's go to 13. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 11, verse 13. All right. And it says, and these are they which ye shall have an abomination among the fowls. Fowls is another word for the flying things, the birds. They shall not be eaten. They are an abomination. And he went into a few details. But let me see. Where you read verse 14 and talk about the different types. So when you jump down now to verse 20, it say, all fowls that creep, going upon all four, shall be an abomination unto you. Yet these may ye eat of every flying creeper thing that goeth upon all fours, which have legs above their feet to leap withal upon the earth. All right. So when you look at that, like I said, these specific directions, which have legs above their feet to leap withal upon the earth, to leap withal. These birds have to have legs above their feet to leap withal. Now I'm going to go to this definition of watch this. Let me see. Leap. So it says, ye shall, in verse 21, about the birds, yet these may ye eat of every flying creeping thing. Now they have to have these features, all right? They have to have these features for you to eat, for you to tell how to eat out of the birds, the things that fly. Yet these may ye eat of every flying creeping thing that goeth upon all four, which have legs above their feet, to leap withal upon the earth. Leap. We're going to go into that definition of leap because I see leap is a key thing here. To leap withal. It said have legs above their feet to leap withal upon the earth. And it says leap. To spring through the air from one point or position to another. Jump. To leap over a ditch. To move or act quickly or suddenly. To pass, come, ride, etc. as if with a jump. All right, to jump over, to pass over as if by a jump, to cause to leap. When you look at the birds, right? Can a duck? They got legs above their feet. A duck, for example. Can they fly? Yes, they can. They actually walk. They don't leap. All right, they actually walk. They got a lot of these birds that flies. They can walk. All right, do. Or you got some of them that, you know what I'm saying? When we read to spring through the air from one point to another position, when we look at a chicken, this can tell that yes, I can eat the chicken. Why? Because the chicken might jump from one position to another to leap with them, but they can't fly. Same as a turkey. They can leap, but they can't fly. All right. These are the birds, all right, that you know that you can't eat. All right. In verse 21 again, it says, yet ye may eat of every flying creeper thing that goeth upon all four, which have legs above their feet, to leap withal upon the earth. All right. So yeah, and I might want to read. Nah, I'll just leave that out. All right. But if you want to read, when they give you some of the names of some of these birds, all right, you can just read Leviticus 11, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. All right, in all these birds in name, you can look these birds up if you want to find out. You know, if you're still a little confused on this verse, you can find out who all in the owl family, who all in the swan family. It mentioned pelican, who all in the pelican family, who all in the eagle family, stork family, who in the bat family, hawk family, cuckoo family, nighthawk family, the raven family, the kite family. It mentions the eagle, the ostrich, the osprey. All these things in their families you cannot eat. All right. But in their families, the ones who got the lid that, all right, like God's friend, in their families, these birds you can eat. All right. So now, my final and last one. All right. Like I said, these laws is not grievous, man. You could just simply, like I said, it's enough technology out here. It's enough technology out here for you to, you know, for you to be able to see which is which and whose is who on the eat and what not to eat. Which mainly we don't go looking to eat all different types of stuff. You see people usually eating these main things like beef and I ain't about to say the other because it is an abomination. You know what I'm saying? But you see, we eat the other. You got the turkey, you got the chicken. Those main little things that we eat all the time. But it's other things you can eat out there, but you got to go by those specific, features like I read in Leviticus chapter 11. So now, in Leviticus chapter 23, so we're gonna go to Leviticus chapter 23. All right, when it says, "And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying unto them concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feast." All right, so now we're gonna see how easy, all right, the how easy it is, and it's not grievous to follow His feast days, because we have a lot of days that we like to follow, except for these days. All right, we would like to follow 4th of July, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. Think the happy birthday, the birthday cake, all right, all this types of stuff. All right, these are the things that they like to celebrate. All right, people like to celebrate these things. All right, and it's easy to come out of that and celebrate these, which are in the Most High's commandments. All right, where it says in verse 4, Leviticus chapter 20, verse 4, it says, "These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations." So these convocations are holy too, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons, in their seasons. In the 14th day of the first month at even is the Most High's Passover, is the Lord's Passover. On the 15th day of that same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread. In the first day ye shall have a holy convocation, ye shall do no servile work therein. All right, ye shall do no servile work therein. But now it says in verse 8, "But ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord 7 days, and the 7th day is a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work." All right. For if you don't know, we don't make the sacrifices anymore, because the Messiah became the sacrifice for all the sacrificial commandments. All right. Now I'm gonna have to get into in deep depth discussion to discuss that, but I'm gonna keep it real simple today. And it says in verse 10, verse 9, Leviticus chapter 23, verse 9, saying, "The Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye come into the land which I give unto you, ye shall reap the harvest thereof. Then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest." And let me go on down to verse 15. And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that ye bought the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Sabbaths shall be complete. So this is letting you know that these feast days that we're going to read, all right, they are known as Sabbaths also. Let me see. I'm trying to jump down because you gotta have a lot of offerings, so I'm just jumping down to the actual days because we don't have to offer these sacrifices anymore. Verse 16, it says, even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath. That's talking about the 7th day, like we specifically read in Leviticus 23:6. It says, on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of the unleavened bread. Unto the Lord 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread. And the first day ye shall have a holy convocation. You shall do no servile work. But ye shall make an offering made by fire to the Lord 7 days. And the 7th day is a convocation. You shall do no servile work. So it says, we see in verse 16, like I explained to you, like these are called Sabbaths, these feast days. So when you go into verse 16, it says, even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath shall ye number 50 days. Ye shall offer a new meat offering unto the Lord. Okay, there we go with the offering, but you shall number 50 days. And we're going to see what the 50 days is going to become. Give me 1 second. Let me jump down. Okay, I'm going to read in verse 16. We're going to read to verse 17. It says, even unto the morrow after the Sabbath, after the 7th Sabbath shall ye number 50 days, and ye shall offer a new meat offering unto the Lord. Ye shall bring out of your habitation 2 wave loaves of 2 tent deals. They shall be of fine flour. They shall be baking with leaven. They are the first fruits unto the Lord. This is another feast day that we are to keep. All right. It says the key thing in verse 16 in Leviticus 23:16 is 50 days. So after this 7th day Sabbath at the end of Passover, we should count 50 days. All right, and on that 50th day, after the 50 days are up, it's going to be the first fruits unto the Lord, which 50 days is in the Hebrew word, it'll be Pentecost. So this is called Pentecost. Pentecost meaning 50. All right, meaning 50. So okay, when we jump on down, so that's what, one. And you got the week of unleavened bread. That's one of the feast days. You got the feast first. That's first fruits. That's 2. Let me jump on down, cause we got the sacrifice and the offerings going on here. Okay. In verse 23, Leviticus 23:23, it says, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month is the first day of the month. In the first day of the month, ye shall have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing trumpets, a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. But we're going to go back up to 24, where it says, it's the first day of the month, and the first day of the 7th month, ye shall have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, a holy convocation. All right. Now, for you who don't know, that us Israelites, we follow the lunar calendar when it comes down to the feast days. All right. We follow the lunar calendar when it comes down to the feast days. All right. Now, that's an in-depth discussion on that. All right. That'll have to be, excuse me, that'll have to be explained in more detail. But I'm just bringing out the days, all right, the days of these the feast that we shall keep, that to show you how easy these things is. All right, like the unleavened bread, we should only eat unleavened bread. We should not eat any leaven for a week. That's not really hard to do. That's really easy to do. All right, and numbering 50 days after, and the first fruits. There's going to be the first fruits of the Most High, where we have bread with leaven. All right, on this day here, we like to eat the grains, things from the harvest, the grains, the rice, the fruits. This is the thing that me and my family does. To bring out, out of the harvest. All right, these are things, you know, because you know, we're not actually growing our own stuff and harvesting our own stuff and bringing our own stuff. So, like I said, keeping the commandments to the best of your ability. All right. We read in Leviticus 23 and 24 where it says the blowing of the trumpets. This is a memorial. Like the nations in the world, they have their Memorial Day where they salute their soldiers and stuff like that. We have a memorial of blowing of trumpets. All right. We have a memorial of blowing of trumpets. Now, if you don't know what the trumpets mean, not talking about an actual instrument trumpet. All right. You can find that in the book of Numbers where the trumpets that we was that this is called, and it's called the ram's horn, which is called the shofar. All right, this was the trumpet that we are to blow as a holy convocation. All right, in the seventh month. All right, not the seventh month in this the Gregorian calendar we got now, January, February, March, April, May. It's not that calendar. All right, like I said, the lunar calendar. Like I said, but that's another in-depth discussion. All right, that'll be a discussion that you're gonna have to talk about all. You know what I'm saying? That's one other thing. That's another. All right, the feast days is another. Those the following the lunar calendar to keep up with the feast days. All right, is another. All right, I would explain that, but right now I'm just gonna keep it simple. All right. Um. So on that day we ought to blow our trumpets. All right, this is a memorial. We ought to blow the trumpets. All right. We ought to blow our trumpets because, as you read, go further down in the book of Joshua, all right, this help us win wars where we blew our trumpets, all right. When the trumpet sound, we gather as a nation, all right. We gather up, huddle up, time for Sabbath. On the Sabbath day, it was a certain way how the horn was blown. And when you read Revelations, all right, when they talk about the seven trumpets, talk about the trumpets over there in Revelations that's going to be sounded, all right, at the end of days. All right. So now I think this would be okay. In Leviticus 23 and 27 says, also on the 10th day of the seventh month. So we still in the same seventh month of the blowing of the trumpets. The trumpets was on the first day of the seventh month. Also on the 10th day of this seventh month. Now on the 10th day, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be a holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. He said, you shall inflict your soul. All right, anything that benefits your body, you ought to inflict it. All right, you ought to put your body under suffering. All right, because watch this. And ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Lord thy God. Before the Lord your God, to make an atonement for you, the Lord your God. For soever soul it be that shall not afflict it in the self same day, he shall be cut off from among his people. He shall be cut off from among his people. And whatsoever soul it be that doeth any work in that same day, the same soul will I destroy from among his people. Ye shall do no manner of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations and in all your dwellings, wherever you at. This shall be done. And it shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls. In the 9th day of the month, at even, from even unto evening shall ye celebrate your Sabbath. All right, so on this time, on the 7th month, on this 10th day, we are to afflict our soul. So, that ain't hard to do either. It might be hard to go out through the day, but this is an atonement for your sins. All right, this is for your forgiveness. All right, this is to keep you under the mercy of the Most High. Now, last but not least, Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 34 says, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, the 15th day of this 7th month shall be the feast of tabernacles, for 7 days unto the Lord. On the first day, here go the directions, shall be a holy convocation. ye shall do no servile work therein. 7 days ye shall off. Okay, here we go to offerings. I'm gonna go down. I want to read the bottom of verse 36. It says, it is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work therein. Verse 37, these are the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire to the Lord. We're going to go down into verse 38. It says, besides the Sabbath of the Lord, and besides your gifts, and besides all your vows, and besides all your free will offerings, which ye shall give unto the Lord, also in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. Now we completed the 7 Sabbaths. Verse 4, it says, and ye shall take you on the first day, okay, both goodly trees, palm branch, both the leaves. Ye shall rejoice before the Lord thy God 7 days, and ye shall keep it a feast unto the Lord 7 days in the year, and it shall be a statute forever in your generations. You shall celebrate it in the 7 months. So we see 7 days. You know, we gonna be doing some eating. All right, we're gonna be doing some eating on this day here. Ye shall celebrate in the 7th month. Ye shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelites born, you got to be a born Israelite, all right, shall dwell in booths, that your generation may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord thy God. All right. So now, what I wanted to do was to show you the simplicity of keeping the Most High's commandments. All right, it's not that hard. It's real simple. All right, it's hard for the people who don't want to do it, and it's real easy for the people that love to do it and want to do it. Like the Most High said in 1 John. Let me go in 1 John 5 and 3. I'm going to close out with that chapter and verse. First John 5 and 3. I'm going to close out back again with 1 John 5 and 3, where it reads, for this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. All right? So, there you have it. To tell you that the Most High commandments are not grievous, the few commandments that I had gave out to you, to show you that, which I really wanted to share on how I started and how I began on keeping the Sabbath. And from that point on, I went to keeping more and more and more laws, the more laws that I found out on how to keep. All right? So yeah, that'll be it again. That'll be it. So first of all, again, I want to give thanks to the Most High, and second, I want to give thanks to His only begotten Son. All right. So with that, I'm going to say shalom, shalom.